Hey everybody, welcome back to the Triangle. It's your girl CJ.
And it's your boy Demetrius, except for his punk ass ain't here. So that was for you, Demetrius. He has to adult tonight, you guys. So we're filling in, but I'm gonna play Demetrius and Brandy today.
Did I say Triangle or Newsangl? Did I say Triangle?
I don't know what you did.
I don't know. Well, this is the Newsangl if you're listening.
I'm playing two people, so I can't think right now. It's too bright.
In about 4 days, so I can't think either.
Oh God.
So that means we're gonna just kind of keep it short and sweet today.
Is your sleep still thrown off due to like COVID schedule and stuff? Because a lot of people were messed up at first.
It's absolutely batshit crazy right now.
Okay.
On top of doing the things that I'm doing on the side, but like I took a
when she says stuff on the side, she bakes, she whores, she does a lot of stuff.
Wait a minute, whores.
She does a lot of stuff.
That would be you, Miss Swimsuit. That would be.
Ma'am,
Look,
I am a lady.
If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, go to her Instagram. She popping in that new swimsuit she got on. Little one shoulder situation happening.
Wasn't it cute? I very much felt like cute. That beauty of the week. It was so different.
Yes.
It was one of those swimsuits that when you got some real chesticles, that was clearly for show. I would not actually swim in that bitch.
That is definitely like poolside lounge.
Yeah, poolside lounge. There is no swimming in that. There's nah, girl. Yeah, cocktails. You doing everything but getting in the water.
That's what it's for. But no, so like with all that said and the fucking retrograde happening and whatnot, we're gonna just talk about a few things that happened. I guess, do you want to start with Kanye? Because obviously everybody is fucking talking about it. Yeah. Running for president. Listen, if this shit happens, that movie Idiocracy is in full effect. I thought it was Trump, but remember Terry Crews is the president in that movie.
You know, they do say, for those of us that do believe in all of our conspiracy theorist stuff, they say that a lot of these people, one of their rituals is revealing what they're doing ahead of time. Right. It's just a part of their principle and how they get down with their witchcraft and stuff. So, I mean, it's extremely possible. I count nothing out because there's just so much shit I believe now. So I'm just like... It's an odd timing. It's very much on brand with Kanye, although part of me was like this. Because again, keep in mind, I always say this, I don't believe we pick our president, right? But let's say that I did for funsies. Part of me is like, why would we put anybody in the White House? No offense to people with mental illnesses, because that's a real thing, but we know you're bipolar. Why would we put you in that's a campaign killer on top of a lot of other stuff. But I don't think anything about him as far as his celebrity and his wife would diminish his chance, because when you let somebody in like Trump, you eliminate all excuses for somebody not being experienced enough, somebody's wife not being whatever the fuck you want them to be enough. That's out the window now. It doesn't fucking matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore.
Right. And so like, and I've read an article where somebody interviewed him and he was like, talking about how when he went to the White House with the MAGA hat on and talked to Trump and all of that was just an act to try to get into the White House. And his thing was that he was like, I did that so I could get in and talk to somebody, because if I hadn't, they wouldn't let me in. And that's his little rebuttal for doing what he did during that time period. I feel like it's more like a backpedaling situation.
It is. Because he knows it wasn't a good look. And not only on that, the more you've been acting out, and I am not blaming him for Kanye, but I'm just saying, notice the correlation between him getting with her and then just the downward spiral. Now,
dude, the Kardashians are sirens. I'm going to keep saying it.
I'm just saying, like, there's just been a pattern, and Kanye has always been Kanye in the sense of controversial, vocal, him saying, Bush doesn't like black people right on air. He's always been that, but we never questioned whose side he was on, so to speak. Right. We never questioned if he was for the, POCs or not.
Right.
So now we do, because you get with someone who technically, by being Armenian and white, she is still technically of color. However, they white pass. They white pass.
For sure.
So when you white pass, we consider you white girls. That's how a lot of people of color do. When you don't want to choose more so the side of color, and your hair and skin is more that, you're doing the most. So you want to be in Paris Hilton and all them face and stuff, you're a white girl. That's how they see it.
Christina Ricci.
Right, girl. I'm like, yo whole ass daddy. You know what? Whatever.
I'm just saying, no, I agree with you, but I don't know. Like, so people are also saying things like, if you vote for Kanye, it's like voting for Trump again, because they don't think that enough people will vote that way to make a significant swing towards Kanye.
I would beg to differ, because I remember, and I meant to post this on Facebook too. I'm like, for everybody saying that nobody's going to vote for Kanye, just remember y'all said that about Trump. Please remember y'all said nobody was going to be at the polls, and you had people that probably couldn't even read and write coming out from the swamps to vote for Trump.
Listen,
I'm just saying, you need to not underestimate that, people.
Like 10 or 13% that went to that weird, somebody made a fake, like, attempt at presidency, and they got like 10 or 13%. Like, people voted for that.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And I can't remember what it was, but
just
it was
think about the type of like social climate we're in, where some people just get off on doing the most outlandish thing.
Yeah, they get off on trolling.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate troll. We have a troll society. What better else thing to do than be like, Kanye gets 4 point, whatever million votes, and be like, what the fuck? See
like him and Kim going to like national fucking.
Oh, you know what's crazy? Stuff. I would trust and support Kim more as first lady than I would as Kanye as president. I just feel like she is more about her business. She is more about that money.
She might be the one pulling the strings if that happens.
I trust that your mama ain't gonna fuck shit up, because Kris Jenner does not play.
True. That's true.
I just feel like you come from a more solid background when it comes to that shit.
I think if you made it into presidency, Kris Jenner will definitely step up first mom.
What you mean? She gonna be secretary.
She gonna be on the microphone like, hi, I'm Kris.
Exactly, and all the press conferences. Her suit game's gonna be vicious.
Oh,
she's gonna be amazing.
That's the only reason why I'll follow too. Is her suit and purses and shoes.
I be trying to pimp my mom out all the time. Like, you need to dress like Kris Jenner. You need to look like that. She's like, why you want me dressing like that? I'm like, girl, why not?
I mean, and she does have all the monies to get all the things. So,
all of the things.
But speaking of government shit, so apparently there's a second stimulus check in the works, and it's starting to sound pretty good that it might happen in the next few weeks or get approved.
Is this the one where they're saying that, well, it makes sense in the next couple weeks, because aren't they back from their break at the end of this month?
And if they don't do it, they go on another break, and it's all the way. They get two summer breaks.
Listen, they don't want the problem. Not they get 2 summer breaks.
They do though.
Cool.
They just got off of one.
No, it was just the way you said it reminded me of school. So that was funny. But I heard or I read that this one potentially is going to cap at $40K for people.
They might.
Yeah. And a lot of people were super upset about, from what I was reading in the article. I forget what the cap was last time.
100.
Oh, I thought it was like 75.
It's a significant difference. That's why it's a problem.
Damn.
Because
I wonder why they're doing that.
Because they don't want people to, I guess, stop working in the economy. Because if you hit to 100, that's a lot of people in unemployment. You know what I mean? Because in order to be in the top, I think 10 or 4% in the U.S., you only have to make more than 100K. That's it.
Okay.
That means that anybody who's making around that is in the top, you're considered top tier, 10%. I actually
started talking to a guy making over that. So he won't be getting a check, but
no, he won't be. You didn't get a check? Tell me more.
Tell me more about how you overqualify. Run me the coins.
The problem with the 40K cap is that it's not going to help anybody. Except
I didn't feel like that either. I'm like,
bottom
damn.
tier. And the very bottom tier who is making less than the 40 cap are the ones who are essential workers. So I don't know what type of significant difference that'll make, because the people in the middle above that but below the 100K are the ones who can't go to work.
Right. And I'm like, I know a lot of people that are in that, or at least my age, I know a lot of people that float in that kind of 40 something to maybe 60, 80 range. And I'm like, if I'm only making 57 and I'm a single mom and I'm still needing help, like I'll still have something, I'll still kind of be in a jam. Child support doesn't come through, let alone like an extra stimulus check. Right. And if you're used to working extra jobs and all this shit, it doesn't help us at all. No. Like, but I can understand the worry too of, a whole bunch of motherfuckers just deciding it's just better not to work. But it'd be different if a lot of them were doing it because they were just lazy. A lot of people are still scared, even though I know online we'll just see people at their indoor swimming pool parties and all type of other cesspool shit. But to be clear, I wouldn't even be down for that even without COVID, because I'm like, gross. There's so many people, and it's just like, girl,
too many people. I
ain't with it.
I don't know how to feel about it, because I'm just like, it's good that they're helping the people in the bottom tier, but they're also able to bring more money to the businesses that need it. So why are the middle people cut out completely is my question. You know what I mean? So the people who already have money are getting more money. People who don't have money are getting money, but the people floating in the middle, like... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it either. Speaking of the virus kicking in, so school reopenings happening across the nation.
I just got a text message about that.
I read my kiddos' high school thing, and it's ridiculous. Nothing is really, it's not saying anything. Did yours say anything?
Okay, so before we started, I was reading mine. It was a whole bunch of paragraphs that still basically said, we're trying to figure this shit out.
Right.
That's what I got. So I'm reading through all these paragraphs, and they're talking in circles like our president. And I'm like, you're not telling me anything. And it's crazy because I keep being asked by the grandparents, do you know what's happening with him in school? And I'm like, the school don't even know what's happening. The world doesn't know what's happening.
I'm going to say this because I said it when I posted one of the links. If you are using Zoom to have a meeting about whether to open a school or not, that's your answer, because you're still using Zoom. That means that maybe you should not be opening.
You know what I think it is? They probably don't want to deal with the backlash, because I know from the memes and everything else, a lot of people, because I like to judge I like to gauge off memes and how many people like them. So based off those memes about just parents being frustrated with homeschooling and the kids just becoming fucking dummies, maybe they don't want to deal with that initial backlash, and they're just going to tell people at the last minute, no school. You might as well rip the Band-Aid off now, because those of us thinking logically know there's not going to be, if you're not going to open up a mall, you're not going to open up a school.
Because here's my thing.
If I can't go to a movie theater, I can't go to school.
They were talking about the students will be between 3 and 6 feet apart. It's supposed to be 6. Okay. So there's your fuck up already. And then I'm trying to figure out, how are the students moving around in the hallway between classes?
Right. I mean, they're probably going to do some weird arrow thing like at Walmart or something. But even then, if you're going to bring kids in, the only reason I can think of why you would do that is just to give them maybe a mental break from just being within their walls and seeing each other.
I can see that.
No, here's why this is dumb as fuck. You're still not able to converse and hang and chill.
Part. So they're not supposed to talk to anybody. You have to keep your mask on. So my thing is, it would be less frustrating to the kids and be able to talk to their friends at home through Zoom than to be quiet for 8 hours at school and just stare at their friends. Because that's what they're going to have to do. And then also on top of it, my question is, how are they going to proceed with trying to keep them wearing masks or keeping them from touching each other, especially the smaller ones, younger kids. The older ones
don't have the younger kids go back at all.
Well, here's the thing. They have to, because they're opening district-wide. And also, what are they going to do with recess? Because that's how younger kids...
Well, I mean, I don't know how this... Well, here's my thing. Because technically, yes, your kids are supposed to be in school.
Right.
However, I'm like, if you decide not to have your kid in school at a time like this, are they really going to send somebody to your house to get you in these times? Is something really going to go down as if it would pre-COVID? Because pre-COVID, you couldn't just have your kid out of school and you ain't letting them know. Right. Now, if you have dozens or hundreds or thousands of parents like, fuck that shit, what are you honestly going to do?
Well, so my district is giving the parents the option of in school or out of school. You get to choose. So we already
and that makes sense. That should be the option for everybody. Outside of it make more sense to me to have middle school and high school students have that option. Everybody else don't fucking come to school.
Yeah, but here's the thing, even if they had the option that way, so what happens if because in the letter that I read, they were like, if there is an outbreak, then we'll have to shut down the school for 2 weeks, and then blah, 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 blah. If a staff member is blah, 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 if a student, and there's so many what ifs that aren't really taken care of, kind of like what you said earlier.
Yeah.
So I feel like, here's the thing. You know how I love watching world news because they get stuff straight away. They don't fucking like beat around the bushes like they do over here. Lots of schools in Japan that opened already are closing down. So my thing is, it's probably going to happen here as well. Everything that's happened overseas, because they had the pandemic first, has happened literally here. Remember when I was like, go buy toilet paper in like January and February? And then March and April, everybody was like, where's the toilet paper?
Gone.
Should have listened to CJ. But no, for real. So I'm assuming that if they do open the schools back up, like they said they're going to, that the schools will be shut down by the time December arrives. Which means that I'm not going to get my Halloween, and I'm already pissed about that.
I've just been trying to make peace with the fact that I'm just going to have to be spooky indoors.
Yeah.
And just make the most of it with costumes indoors.
I might take the kids to, the grandparents and pretend trick or treat with them and
something. It's causing people to be creative. I'll tell you that much, because I'm just not wanting my kid to be depressed and go crazy. I just feel like my only saving grace is him being an only child, and there's just so much isolation he's already used to, so that helps, but I still don't like this shit for him.
No, it's not.
I hate it for him.
I do too. Well, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back to the other half of our day. We really are going to keep it short, y'all, because I can't with this week.
No, I can't.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
We're back, bitch. You got to say we're back, bitch.
I'm sorry.
That's what Demetrius does.
Sorry, D, are you listening? Brandon's making up for you.
He does.
So going along with what we were talking about, so there is a bunch of facility outbreaks happening as well across the nation. One in particular near me is one of the women's prisons in Fort Worth.
Oh shit.
So there were like 50 something prisoners that got tested positive for the virus.
Girl.
And so now they're going to test all the staff members, which means they'll probably test positive as well. So here's my thing. So if that's happening in prisons and at medical facilities as well, like hospitals, because I read somewhere that they're getting overwhelmed. San Antonio, I know for sure, has been for a few weeks now. They're saying that they are like, their hospitals are packed because of it. And
with the reopening and people, here's the thing, you can't trust people, and that sucks to even say.
I know.
But you can't trust people, because when we're allowed to slide, motherfuckers start ice skating.
Oh,
they opened up a little bit, and then y'all felt like it was. I say that all the time. Or for funsies, you can start using actual like figure skater names. So that'll be fun for us 90s kids when figure skating was like it. Okay.
Yes.
Like really, really putting it out there. But anyway, you can't trust it. I'm like, this is why we will more than likely see some martial law-ish shit in our lifetime. This is more than likely why they're gonna just mandatory put shit into effect, because we cannot be trusted to govern ourselves accordingly, because y'all don't even want to wear a mask, let alone not go to certain places.
I will not understand all those videos that are surfacing of people refusing.
It almost seems like it's not real. When I first saw one for a couple of weeks ago, it was all of them nakers that was in their cars. They was on some highway or byway in Atlanta or something, all outside. Like, it was the kickback girl. It looked like hundreds of people. And I'm like, what is going on?
No, ma'am.
Like, it didn't matter. And I'm just like, again, even if you catch it and you're fine, why aren't you considering other people?
Well, because they don't give a fuck. That's so like, listen, let's talk about how countries are banning U.S. travelers to their country because now we are the pandemic, because we have the most. Like China was talking about doing it, and several other countries are saying they may stop taking travelers from the U.S. because there's so many virus infections here.
Because so many of us don't, we don't feel this way on the Triangle, but so many people just don't believe it exists or believe it's that bad. And I'm just like, I may not have known anybody with it personally, but I am always a person or two away from someone who caught it and died. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I know they've lost people.
I just saw on my personal feed that one of my friends caught it, and she debated on posting it, but she decided she needed to because she wanted everybody on her friends list to know somebody who has the virus, because she felt the same way. She felt like if you don't know somebody like in your life, a lot of people are not really convinced that it could affect them in any way. Even if they believe in it, they're not convinced that it'll affect them. And I know that because I've seen people in grocery stores with like, I know they say face covering, but y'all really need to make it a mask, because people are walking out here with like face guards with air holes in it just to appease the policy, and it's not doing any good.
Or they're wearing stuff so thin where you can kind of see through it.
Yeah, and like, what is the point of all of this? Like, if you're gonna
Side note, I ordered a new mask, and it has like replaceable filters, because some people are really making bank off their custom mask, and I am not mad at the hustle.
I'm about to
this one has like crystals all in the front.
I was just gonna say how
it's triple layered, and then it has the little removable filter they put in there too. So I was like, ooh, I'm not mad at this at all. And I got one that's black with black crystals, and then I got another one that's black and then has it like the iridescent rainbow crystals. I was like, if I wind up having to go back to the bar, and we're only limiting to like, as long as the bars stay open anyway, and we were starting to limit only about 10 people to come in at a time or so. I want to be cute, so
I
want a cute mask.
I had my mom make me and the family like bingata Okinawan style material like masks and shit too, really, and I also have like honeybees and like Nightmare Before Christmas, like nerdy shit too.
Oh, cute.
Like Dan has Dragon Ball ones too.
That's money. I'm telling you, whoever just puts out the print and they get on Instagram and they're like, hey, whatever.
I gotta tell my mom. I was telling her.
No, seriously, tell her to rev shit up now.
I know,
and get that popping for October.
I know, because it's about to be a whole nother situation.
This is the way of life for right now. We don't know when this is going to stop. I want to be cute with the mask.
Speaking of masks, did you see the news report on Whole Foods with all the protesters, because they told them that they couldn't wear any masks or shirts that have any logos or writing on them? So apparently somebody showed up with a mask that says Black Lives Matter, like just BLM.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they're saying it's because it's dress code. I don't know. I understand the dress code thing. Also, given the situation and the environment of our nation right now, they could have probably left them alone if it was like 3 letters on a mask. I just feel like so now
Whole Foods represents white America, and we don't have time for Black lives in white America. Thank you. That's what that translates to. That's what they thought
that, they could have let that shit go. And like the t-shirts.
How much you want to bet if that shit said all lives matter, they wouldn't have said shit. I bet my life. I bet my life.
They wouldn't have. Because like, and then the t-shirts didn't say anything bad. It was like, there's no room for racism here, is what it said, I believe. And they were black and white. They weren't like bright colors and bright lettering.
Supporting Black people is controversial if you haven't gotten wind of that over the last couple weeks. Quite a stir when you support the colored. So
not the colored. Shut up.
You can't do that.
And I keep seeing this video. I don't know where this was at, but this lady and her husband like went and painted over the Black Lives Matter mural on the street with black paint. I was like, and then I was reading the comments, because that's where you got to go next.
Oh, comment section.
And the best one was like, so they just made the Black Lives Matter sign blacker. They followed the lines of the letters, not like a stripe over it. She covered.
Oh my God, you had one job.
I know, but he was like, well, more power to it, because now it's really black. Like, you use black paint to paint.
The fact that you even spent your time and money to do that, and then it's like, we have a history of you guys painting over blackness. Okay, that's metaphorical. Okay, you see how deep that is. Yeah, y'all catch that on the way home. But that's literally been a lot of residual bullshit that we're dealing with, and it's just manifested in physical form. We're saying that's what you're doing. You're trying to erase us and mute us and act like we're just second, third, fourth class citizens here, and you don't treat us as equals.
This particular couple was like, Black Lives Matter is a narrative from the far left.
Oh my God.
The
if
virus,
I hear far left one more time,
the virus is fake. It's a hoax. Nobody's dying. I was like, nobody's dying. Like, people are really saying things like nobody is dying when there's like thousands and thousands.
It's
of
hard
people.
for people to comprehend that some stuff could definitely be a setup and a hoax, but also be true. Kind of like when we talked about 9/11. I definitely feel like that was pre-planned and a setup, but that does not mean people didn't really die.
They know.
Like people really died in that,
so
but it was still a setup.
False flags does not mean people are not going to be injured or die. Like false flags just mean the event is like the trap and everything around it is just the effect of it. It's just like this virus. The event 201 was a practiced virus outbreak scenario, and now it's happening. And so what does that mean? It's like what Brandy was saying. Do they pre-do everything and then bring it to the light and forefronts for them to like work it out later? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I got really nervous when the mall I used to work at had a drill for like a shootout. And then and then a few weeks later, somebody ran in there with a gun and they had to shut them all down. I was like, so we just expecting things to happen. So whenever they have any kind of like, drill, I get very like, I'm like, what's about to pop off here soon?
Right.
Like, I don't know. But another thing with the virus, this is kind of like Hollywood mixed with politics, mixed with the virus. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh yeah, honey, she's still alive.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Okay, for those that don't know, that if you watch the Jeffrey Epstein Netflix special, he was this rich socialite who was lying about a whole bunch of shit his whole life. And still got money because, white privilege. And he was hanging out with Trump and Bill Clinton and a whole bunch of people. Look up his flight list of people that's been on his plane. But he's been messing around with teenage boys and girls and sexually assaulting and all that shit for years and years. And so the girl that we talking about now, it was his wingman, so to speak, because she was messing with these bitches too, and bringing them in and all type of stuff.
So she's obviously in isolation in jail right now because apparently she has CV, the virus. And what's weird about this is a few days ago, apparently, supposedly, photoshopped the BBC News article went around saying that she was very sick in the ICU, but it was dated July 11th. Today is what, the 8th? Right? And now she's actually in isolation for CV virus.
I would not be surprised because I know she knows.
And then my other friend, shout out to Brittany, sent me an article on Instagram where she is in the background picture of JonBennet. Remember her? Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you later. I might try to post it if I can screenshot it. But so she,
us 90s kids know all about that.
Yes, if you don't
listening, you don't know who that is, you need to look that up. That was the story.
So she is in a picture with JonBennet in the background, and it's her. Like you can tell it's her.
So deep. I heard her daddy was a mess too.
Yes.
Because that came from money. Like just go down the rabbit hole.
I've read that people who are in the ring have been a lot of them have been born into it, and they were I read a story somewhere where the little girl, she was like 2 or 3 years old and got locked up into an isolation room in her house, and they would come and feed her nothing but a few drops of water every few hours to keep her alive, to break her down mentally. And she said, what I remember about it, because she got away from it all and did this interview, is that even as a 2-3-year-old, like, why would my dad and mom treat me like this? Like, I'm their kid. But then after she was broken down, they would like drug her and then sexually abuse her with not like them, but other people would. And it's just like this continued thing. And the other thing she was saying was like, not some of these porn stars were born into that situation as well, and that's why they got into that industry.
I could believe that all day long,
girl. There's so much.
I've heard a lot of stories about some sex trafficking victims going into the porn industry, which would make sense because you're just being drilled day in and day out, and that's just your way of life. I don't know a lot of great stories from people that are like legit porn stars, like legitimate. That's what you've done for years.
There's been a few, but very far in between. And
I mean, they all end up having big problems. I think the only person that kind of came out, but now she stays to herself a lot, but she was fucked up for a long time, was Jenna Jameson, because she would give a lot of interviews and stuff, and it took her years to mellow out.
What's the other girl named Brandy Olson? Wilson came out of there. There's a few other people, but so like the other thing is Ghislaine Maxwell's fucking attorney for this is the guy who put down El Chapo. She got like some main name dude. His name is Christian Everdell.
Well, she probably needed it because when Epstein went down, I don't know what type of deal her and some other people struck, but she got to go away, and some other people that was connected to it.
But here's the thing: so when Epstein went down, I still don't think he's dead. By the way,
me and a coworker were talking about that.
I don't think that was his body. There was too many changes. And remember that scene in Stranger Things where it was not him, and it was like a body filled with cotton. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah, because I haven't.
It's so easy to do.
Well, I did finish season 1. Yeah, you're right.
It's so easy to do, and so. But here's the thing: so they're putting her in isolation, just like they did him. So if she goes missing or is dead in the next few weeks, I just want to put it out there that you heard it here first.
I'm like, what do you mean when? Like that's why I posted that meme. It was like it gave her birth date, and then it was like till sometime next week because ain't no way.
There's way. The way that it moved so fast, even if that BBC article was
knew
photoshopped.
Where she was all this time. Like nobody knew where she was.
Everybody knew where she was. It was
just like, oh, here you go, girl.
Of course they knew, but I'm really perturbed at the whole situation. Like we'll see what happens. I also want to just end with
let's end with because it's
yes, we need to go. China detected bubonic plague, and within the same 24 hours, the dengue fever virus. In 24 hours. I don't know if you know what the bubonic plague is. It's better known as the Black Death.
I have not heard of the second thing you were talking about.
The dengue fever is a mosquito-related fever that doesn't actually have a cure. It just kind of cures on its own, but it's like a very annoying viral fever to get because there's no actual medication for it. Like doctors will prescribe you like antibiotics or something.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. They're just over there releasing shit because they're like, coronavirus ain't doing this fast enough.
I know, right?
We need them dead. They're like, we need this Georgia Guidestone shit to pop off. Oh my God,
I was just going to say that. I think our next WTF episode needs to be the Georgia Guidestone.
Like going into depth about it. Because I know we talked about it like briefly, but like really like reading what's on the stones.
Let's do it and do it line by line because it's written in. Let's do that next week.
Yeah. I think you know what I need to do too? I'm going to hit up my sister because she's the one that put me on that and she's like you with all this. So
I know get her on here.
She's all about that stuff. So I'm going to hit her up and see if she's available next week. She would be so down to go down the rabbit hole.
I mean, at this point, like, I don't even know if we were wrong.
And she lives there in Georgia.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Tell her to go take pictures of it. Like,
oh God. I don't even want to see that shit. I don't want to see it.
Down there.
Oh, God.
But so anyway, like, so the bubonic plague, hopefully it doesn't spread, but this is literally the Black Death that wiped out almost 1/3 to a half of Europe, like the entire continent of Europe.
All because they don't want to clean.
Right. And this was like 1347 to 1352. It's not something that was like a few hundred years ago. It's like several hundred years ago.
But it's black and white in our textbooks, so it had to be.
I mean, you know. And the dengue fever is not so terrible. It's spreadable by mosquitoes and animals, but like, and it takes up to a week to cure. It's just, I don't know. Like you said, why, if there's anything else, because they just did the H1N1 swine flu last week. Like, somebody's going in the laboratory and releasing shit is what's happening. I don't know who it is.
I think so.
I don't know.
We've seen too many movies where that happens, and I don't believe every movie I see, but the fact that I've seen shit and then it happens in real life, I'm like, come on now. But we'll definitely do that for our episode. Yes. We're gonna leave you guys.
Yes, it's time to go. Bye. Anyway, so if you've watched us or listened to us and enjoyed this show this far, make sure you subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, hit that notification bell in the corner there so you get all our new episodes every Monday at 9 a.m. Central. Our other episodes drop. You can't even do it, even with one of y'all.
We have to ruin it somehow.
Oh my God. So if you want to watch our other episodes, which is a little bit longer with our, subjects and stuff, such as dancing, y'all. Doing the D. It drops every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central as well. So I guess that's it for today.
That's it, y'all.
We'll talk to you later. Stay logical, safe, blessed, all of that good stuff. Stay black. If you're not, support the POC. Allies unite. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.